Hi everyone, welcome back to Financial Freedom by 40. My name is Kelly and today I am answering your questions. So one of the questions I had recently was, how do you keep the financial freedom goal alive through the ups and the downs? Now, I think that question was more aimed at basically once you've achieved financial freedom. Um, obviously when you hit your financial freedom goal, the idea is that you stop working, you don't have any other sort of hours for dollars day job as such, so you're free to do what you want with your time and you get all of the income coming in from passive streams of income like your rental properties. So first of all, we haven't hit that yet. We're still heavily reliant on uh, income, additional income, so income from employment, to be able to pay our bills day to day. We are in the position that we can draw some income off our rental properties. If we wanted to do that, we have to restructure things a little bit to do that, but we haven't done that just at this stage yet. So I would say that it's quite hard for me to answer that question because we haven't hit that point in our financial freedom journey yet where we actually are full-time living off it and having to ride the ups and downs. But I think part of that is, I think, the ups and downs, particularly around interest rates. So I think people are feeling that a lot lately because the interest rates have been affecting everybody's cash flow, with the interest rates rising quite rapidly over the last couple of years. And a lot of people have got used to being on lower interest rates, and now the interest rates are higher. So that definitely can have a pretty big effect on your cash flow, particularly if you're going up a percentage or two that can really eat into your cash flow. So that's definitely something we'll have to factor in. I would say that when we do, for us anyway, when we do decide to live off the income from our property portfolio, or primarily off the income from our property portfolio, that the goal there would be to have as little debt as possible. So either to have paid down or paid off the rental properties, either through the income increasing over time and being able to pay down the debt so that there's less debt, or plowing income from our own incomes against all of the debt so that there is little or no debt. The other option too would be to do something like property trading or property flipping and pay off debt that way, or maybe just sell one or two of the properties and pay off some of the, pay off some or all of the debt. To be able to actually have the income coming in. So that would mean that the interest rates wouldn't be such a big impact. And then in terms of other things, I would say that it's just being really cautious about factoring in particularly maintenance costs, because you can have sort of a bit of a lumpy cash flow in terms of maintenance costs. So what we are trying to do is to try and I guess kind of schedule plan a bit better for long-term maintenance. So something we haven't done yet, which we know we need to do, is to start putting aside funds for each property to cover the bigger long-term maintenance things like replacing a roof, because that can be a pretty big hit. I think the last roof we replaced, I feel like it was about $15,000 or $16,000. So it's quite a lot of money to come up with all in one big lump sum. And that made us sort of think, well, we do really need to be making sure that we actually have a bit of a fund put aside, for like a long-term maintenance fund put aside to cover those big expenses. Because you can see, like, if you were relying on the income from your property and then suddenly you had a big $15,000, $20,000 cost like that could make it quite hard if you cut your income by $20,000 or in a year. So really, I think a lot of it is just factoring that in as you're going, making sure you're well aware of what the upcoming maintenance costs are, and factoring that into your budgeting, so that when you say we need to have this much passive income from the property, you've got a bit of a buffer there to be able to cover that. So that's what my thinking would be, in particular from our experience, is just making sure you're aware of all of the costs that you're going to have to cover. There's some stuff that you just won't be able to know that might come up, compliance costs, like when they brought in the healthy homes rules and you had to pay for insulation and heat pumps and those kind of things. But if you've got that buffer, that maintenance buffer, then you could always draw some of the money from that. So really, I think a lot of it for us is just making sure that you're aware of what's coming up and just being careful to balance all of those things. One thing that we've done while we have had lending, so if you were to flip over to being, relying on your income from your rentals, while they still do have debt, one thing I've talked about in one of our other videos that we've done to manage some of the risk with our rental property portfolio is staggering interest rates, so that they're you might have one on a 1 year, one on a 2 year, one on a 3 year, one on a 4 year, so on, so that they're spaced out over time, so that you don't get hammered quite so hard by those fluctuations. So that's something that's worked well for us. So it might mean that we've had times where interest rates have been higher, but it's also meant that, or higher than they'd have to be. So if you fix on a 2 year rate, it might be 5%, but if you fix on a 5 year rate, it might be 6.5%. So you're paying quite a lot more in interest, but that's given us the certainty to know, well, that's fixed on that rate. We've got another one that's fixed on 3%. So when we balance it out, actually over the whole thing, it's not too bad. So so those are some of the strategies that we've used to date. But because we haven't hit that financial freedom goal, I can't really give you advice based on what we've done, or give you an opinion sort of from our own personal experience, because we're not yet there. But those are just some of the things that we will factor in once we get to that point. So I hope that was helpful. And if you have any other questions, feel free to drop them in the comments, and I will do you another video answering, or I'll answer in the comments if it's just a quick one. But otherwise, make sure you subscribe, and then you will get all of our upcoming videos to keep up to date with all of the questions that we're answering. So thanks for listening, and hope you have a lovely day.